Reform UK MP Rupert Lowe has unleashed a blistering critique of Labour's controversial inheritance tax policy for farmers, calling it nothing short of a terrible policy. His remarks come amidst widespread rural protests that have ignited a fierce debate over the government's treatment of British farmers. Lowe didn't hold back, dismissing official government data on the policy's impact as complete rubbish. He accused policymakers of presenting skewed numbers without conducting proper research or understanding the real-world consequences of their actions. His sharp rebuke underscores the growing frustration among farmers and rural communities who feel abandoned by Labour's agenda. In today's video, we'll break down Rupert Lowe's scathing comments, unpack the details of this controversial policy, and explore what it all means for British farming and rural life. Stay tuned as we dig into this critical issue and discuss the future of farming in the UK. The majority of British voters now favour closer ties with the European Union, signalling a significant shift in public sentiment since the 2016 Brexit referendum. According to a major new poll commissioned by the European Council on Foreign Relations, ECFR, 55% of UK respondents expressed a desire for stronger relations with the EU. Remarkably, even a portion of those who originally voted for Brexit now support cultivating closer ties with the bloc. The comprehensive survey, conducted by YouGov and Data Practice, polled 9,278 voters across 6 European nations, making it the most extensive study of UK-EU relations since Brexit. When asked about diplomatic priorities, 50% of British respondents identified Europe as the key relationship to strengthen, compared to just 17% who selected the United States. This polling data emerges as Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer gears up for critical diplomatic talks with EU leaders. Starmer is scheduled to meet EU Council leader Antonio Costa in an effort to reset relations between the UK and the EU. Additionally, the Labour leader has accepted an invitation to meet with all 27 EU leaders in Brussels on February 3rd, further underscoring the warming ties. However, not everyone is optimistic about Labour's broader policies. Reform UK MP Rupert Lowe voiced a scathing critique of the government during a live TV appearance, branding Labour's inheritance tax policy for farmers as terrible. Lowe accused the government of using inflated figures to justify its decisions, stating, "They just parrot numbers without proper research." This is a government that bends facts to fit their narrative. Lowe's frustration mirrors the sentiments of hundreds of farmers who gathered in Westminster recently to protest Labour's proposed inheritance tax changes for agricultural businesses. The demonstration, which coincided with Prime Minister's questions, saw tractors lining Whitehall as farmers rallied against what they called toxic budget changes. Under Labour's autumn budget, inheritance tax on agricultural land would be extended, with a rate set at 20% and only 50% relief available. Currently, the first £325,000 of an estate is exempt from inheritance tax, with amounts above that taxed at 40%. Farmers argue the new policies unfairly target their industry while allowing wealthier individuals to use loopholes to avoid paying inheritance taxes altogether. Adding to their grievances, the policy changes include an accelerated withdrawal of EU origin subsidies, leaving farmers feeling increasingly abandoned. Labour has remained firm on the issue, with Environment Secretary Steve Reid emphasising the government's unwavering support for farmers. Reid highlighted a £5 billion farming budget over 2 years, which he claimed includes unprecedented funding for sustainable food production. Despite these assurances, the farming community remains unconvinced. Critics argue the policies will harm not only small agricultural businesses but also Britain's rural backbone. Rupert Lowe summed up the sentiment by saying, "Labour seems determined to upset everyone. From pensioners to private schools, they are alienating key sectors of the country with reckless policies." As tensions escalate, the debate around these policies raises questions about their long-term impact on British agriculture and rural communities. Will Labour's controversial inheritance tax overhaul end up costing them support in key rural constituencies? We want to hear your thoughts on this issue. Do you believe these changes are necessary, or is Labour out of touch with the needs of British farmers? Let us know in the comments below.